Hello again. Welcome back to another episode of Pocono Mountains Podcast. I'm Jim Hamill. We have visited some historic downtowns over these past episodes, and now for something you can find across the Pocono Mountains in nature. How about some waterfalls? The Poconos is home to 20 or so waterfalls. The vast majority are open to the public. One of them is referred to as the Niagara of Pennsylvania, and another is right in the Delaware Water Gap National Recreation Area and is the tallest falls in Pennsylvania. That's Raymondskill Falls. Well, the Poconos, as you know, is a year-round destination for millions with 2,400 square miles of mountains, forests, lakes, rivers, and waterfalls, with historic downtowns and iconic family resorts. It's the perfect getaway for a weekend or an entire week. You can always find out more on PoconoMountains.com or watch Pocono Television Network, streaming live 24/7. Thanks again for listening to Pocono Mountains Podcast. We will have a new episode each week highlighting lots of fun things you can experience while you're visiting the Poconos here in Pennsylvania. Subscribe to Pocono Mountains Podcast and leave a review and comment on whatever platform you listen. Now for Chris Barrett and Ashley Brooks as they introduce us to several waterfalls across the Pocono Mountains.
Chris, during the past few seasons, we've been able to show our viewers the beauty of the Poconos during the winter and summer.
True, Ashley, true. But one of the most exciting and beautiful seasons to visit us is in the fall.
And nothing says beauty more than waterfalls. We'll show you some of the best on this edition of Pocono Mountains Magazine. Chris, this is breathtaking.
It's awesome.
It's obviously fall here in the Poconos. And if you want to see the largest waterfall that the state has to offer, it's right here behind us.
So this is Raymondskill Falls with a 150-foot drop and it's 3 tiers. It's located in Delaware National Water Gap Recreation Area.
Did you know that the Pocono Mountains has around 30 waterfalls?
Really?
Let's go check them out.
Let's do it. We're at Bushkill Falls, but as you can see, there isn't a waterfall behind me. It's a wildlife exhibit, right?
Right, Chris. This is one of several we have here at Bushkill Falls, but of course our main attraction are 8 spectacular waterfalls and 2.5 miles of hiking trails through the most magnificent scenery in the Poconos. The fall is a wonderful time to visit, so come see us and you'll discover why we're called the Niagara of Pennsylvania.
Chihuahua Falls Lake is a half-mile long. Right below the lake are the falls with multi-tiered levels. It's real cool.
It's a spectacular place to take photos and create those lasting Pocono memories.
And you're right here with PTN, the Pocono Television Network. Charlie, we are here at Bushkill Falls. We're so happy to be here.
Well, Chris, we're glad to have you here. Thank you for coming. My grandfather opened Bushkill Falls to the public in 1904 on a wing and a prayer and a single plank bridge. He labeled it the Niagara of Pennsylvania. And if you come, you would see it's deserving of that name. In 114 years since, we've now got 8 sturdy bridges and 2.5 miles of the most spectacular hiking trails through the most magnificent scenery in the Poconos.
So tell me just a little bit about, we were talking just about the people who have visited Bushkill Falls and have been in this area since the 1940s. That was fascinating. Tell us a little bit about some of the people you knew actually who were here.
Well, now you're dating me, Chris, but I can tell you.
We don't judge.
No,
Never
listen, in the late 40s and in the 50s, the television entertainment industry was all centered in New York. And so it was not unusual for Jackie Gleason and Perry Como and Danny Kaye and people of that ilk to be in the Poconos because that's where they came for their leisure activities and their leisure time. Most of them played golf. If I can plug a little for my friend Charlie Kirkwood, they played at Shawnee, but they also came to visit the falls, and we were glad to have them.
Yeah, we've been at Shawnee, and really, really spectacular property. One of the things is I think different with the falls itself is just the wildlife exhibits here. Tell us a little more about that.
Well, this wildlife exhibit has been here quite a while. One of my uncles was friends with a local taxidermist, and we conceived this as a means of an entrance facility to the falls to show the people the type of wildlife that inhabits Pennsylvania's forests. Most of it is still around. If you look closely, you can see it. Some of it hasn't been around for a while. We do have a bison and an elk here. But this is where this exhibit originated, and we're quite proud of it.
So where does the water originate from for the falls itself? That's kind of neat too.
This is a spring-fed creek, the Little Bushkill Creek, an exceptional value creek. It rises out of some springs that are about 5 or 6 miles from us. It's a completely unspoiled stream. No construction around it or on it of any kind from its whole length, from where it originates back around Lake Mascanoja actually, to where it goes into the Big Bushkill Creek and then into the Delaware River. Stretch of about 10 to 12 miles. Some of the most clear, pristine water you'd find anywhere in the United States.
It is remarkable.
And so the waterfalls here are the largest waterfalls that the Poconos has to offer, right?
These are the largest waterfalls the Poconos have to offer. It's not for nothing. We call ourselves the Niagara of Pennsylvania. Thank you, Ashley.
Wow, so we have 8, right? Eight waterfalls here?
We have 8 waterfalls here. They have been consistently the subject of calendars. They've been consistently the subject of advertising, some on a national scale. You might know one of our waterfalls, the Bridal Veil Falls, was a part of a feature story and a shoot involving Charlize Theron in Vogue magazine in December 2011.
Oh, remember you showed
That
us
I
that?
know.
Yeah, you showed us
Now
that.
you're
sure you
speaking
probably
my
did. I'm
language.
sure
Now we're
you
right
did.
in her bailiwick there, yes. It is really, really amazing, and I think we were voted number 3, the Pocono Mountains in the U.S. is one of the top 10 destinations to view foliage, and this is definitely one of the places to do it. But time for our last question is, if you had to say to a guest a reason to come and visit Bushkill Falls, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that you'd never regret having come here and taking your photographs. There's no place like it anywhere in the United States or even in the world.
And we're here with Charlie. Charlie's Bushkill Falls has been in his family for a number of years, and he's one of the original folks that founded a lot of things that you hear and see in the Pocono Mountains. I'm Chris, along with Ashley. You're watching PTN, the Pocono Television Network. Thanks for being with us. Hi folks, you're back on PTN, the Pocono Television Network. You know we always do shout outs. There's only one right now, and that's the beautiful falls in the Pocono Mountains. We are actually off of historic Route 6 in Chehola, Milford. Well, it's near Milford in beautiful Pike County, of course, which is one part of the Pocono Mountains. So we drove in. Ashley, what did you see when you drove in?
We saw the beautiful serene lake that actually deposits right here on these multi-tiered waterfalls here that you see. So they're beautiful.
And we've been in a lot of waterfalls. This has been a great season. We have had a little bit more rain than usual, but as you can see, it's really had a lot of runoff. And all the falls we visited Bushkill, we visited Raymondskill, and now we're at Chehola. And this is something you can do if you're on a budget, right?
It is. It's one of those places, one of the waterfalls that is free here in the Pocono. So that's really nice. You can kind of plan your whole trip. And because it's so close to Milford, you can kind of go see the town itself, understand the history, and then come over here and relax.
Because a lot of times we do have people ask us, it's very big, there's a lot to do. We love it. We're trying to find out, what are the things you can do really, really affordably. And we just want to really stress that the beauty is something that you can see for free. And you can hike, you can pack a picnic, you can walk around the beautiful small towns. You can come here to a place like Chehola. It's very, it gets you to be like really calm, and it's a really way to get away from everything and really just enjoy your day.
Just listening to the roar of those falls makes you want to get out and explore these natural wonders. Many of the state and national parks throughout the Poconos have waterfalls, including Prompton State Park, Hickory Run State Park, and Lehigh Gorge State Park. In the national park near Milford, you can visit Raymondskill Falls, which is a moderate challenge for hikers. or Dingman's Falls, which is a handicap-accessible series of falls with amazing viewpoints for folks of any age or ability to reach, thanks to wooden paths that aren't too steep for accessibility. Want to learn more? Head to PoconoMountains.com and search Waterfalls. And even read our blog, 7 Gorgeous Poconos Waterfalls You Need to See. Thanks again for listening to the Pocono Mountains podcast. You can subscribe to us anywhere podcasts are available and leave a review and or comment. Now for a message from Chris Barrett.
What's in a promise? It's a way to say that we care. With the Pocono Promise, we're saying that you and your family come first. You and your comfort. You and your experience. And oh, by the way, we want you to have fun. It's the best way to rejuvenate yourself, and it's older than, well, the hills. We've always been here, and we always will be. Feel the comfort again when you visit the Pocono Mountains. Find us and the Pocono Promise at PoconoMountains.com.
Hey, we're back. I'm Jim Hamill. Now for a Pocono Mountains podcast extra. Since we're visiting Delaware Water Gap National Recreation Area and its wonderful accessible waterfalls in this episode, we wanted to introduce you to Pocono Environmental Education Center, or PEAK. It's a one-stop shop for learning all about the environment in a wonderful facility. Now for Chris Barrett and Jeff Rosalski at PEAK in the Pocono Mountains.
Hi folks, this is PTN, the Pocono Television Network. Thanks for being back with us. I want to shout out to Brian at Promised Land State Park. Thank you so much for hosting us. It was a beautiful day in the Pocono Mountains, as it is every day. Took us all around, showed us the beach, showed us a small waterfall. It was wonderful. So thanks, Brian. Thanks for cluing us in about all the great things at state parks in the Pocono Mountains. We got a federal park here too. So remember, visit those. Great things to do that are fun and free. But one of my other favorite things that I am here now is the Pocono Environmental Education Center, which we lovingly call PEAK. And PEAK is one of our premier institutions here in the Pocono Mountains, responsible for educating everyone as to how important our environment is. And Jeff, who's with us, has graciously given us his time to talk a little bit about PEAK's mission, some of the things that you can do here for free and learn great things about the environment. So Jeff, I'm gonna, without further ado, turn it over to somebody who knows what they're talking about. So Jeff, talk to me about PEAK, because I'm always really excited about your mission.
So PEAK is the largest environmental education center in the United States, but we're a residential center, so students come here for multi-day trips, and we teach environmental education, so pond ecology, stream ecology, as well as classes in sustainability. But we also have hiking trails, and we're open to the public, and we have weekend programs that are throughout the entire year also open to the public, everything from fire building to tracking of animals in the wintertime, pond ecology studies for the general public, canoeing, kayaking.
So Jeff, talk a little bit about sustainability. A lot of people use that word, but in your context, what does it mean?
So for us, it's using resources responsibly. And so we're trying to teach both students as well as the public about conservation practices and how to use the resources, the scarce resources we have, whether that's water, whether that's energy, as efficiently as possible. And so that involves everything from design of our newer buildings to our water management on the campus.
So really behind us is one of the, and I hope I don't want to get this, it's one of the educational centers that any guest could come in and look at. What's the purpose of that?
So behind us is the Eco Zone, and it's a discovery room, and it's a very hands-on discovery room because all of the education we do, whether it's in the Eco Zone or out in the land that surrounds us, is all hands-on activities. And so we have a bunch of displays in there. It's open on weekends to the public, and just basically check our website, peak.org, that has the opening hours.
So if a family would come here and they'd want to learn a little bit more, what are some of the activities that would be in there?
So everything from a life-size bald eagle's nest that you can climb into, to a beaver lodge that is set in the deep end of an old Poconos honeymoon resort pool, and you can crawl into the beaver lodge and get the feeling of being underwater, because the entrances to beaver lodges is underwater. And you come up and you stand, and you're standing in the lodge. We also have a bat cave, and you get a headlamp, and you can crawl. Yeah, you get a headlamp, you can crawl into the cave, and it's a very realistic cave. It was funded by two of the largest speleological several societies in the country that help fund it, as well as ESSA Foundation.
So one of the things that you and I talked about this offline a lot of times, who are some of the folks that designed some of the buildings here that they were really sustainability folks?
So our dining hall was designed by Peter Bolin of Bolin, Sawinski and Jackson, which is, I mean, Peter designed the Apple Cube store in New York City. He designed the Liberty Bell Center in Philadelphia, and Bill Gates' house, and he designed our dining hall. He's also designed, it hasn't been built yet, but we're in the process, a new lodge for us where students will be able to stay for these multi-day trips that we have.
Yeah, talk a little bit more about that. You had showed us that plan. That's fascinating.
So it's called Centennial Lodge, and it will house 42 students and some adults. And basically, it replaces a bunch of the older cabins that are basically at the end of their useful life. And it will be a combination of dormitory housing as well as classroom space. And we have many groups that come here, everything from elementary school through to university students, and they stay for these programs, and we need newer and better accommodation for them to stay in. But the building itself features a lot of sustainable design, be it passive solar, be it gray water system where shower water is reused in the toilets when they're flushed, to the stormwater management system of the building, are all designed around sustainable use of both water and energy resources.
So one final thing to really ask is, if a guest came here, and what would you suggest that they see or do? Well, one of the things we like to do is talk about unique things. I mean, you talked about the Beaver Lodge back. What to you is the most fascinating?
I think the trails. I mean, our trails are amazing. Our Tumbling Waters Trail, Outside Magazine voted it the best hiking trail in Pennsylvania in 2019. It's this amazing trail that has both panoramic views of the Delaware River as well as a fantastic waterfall on the trail, and it's a 3-mile loop. So I'm all about hiking the trails here.
And thanks to Peak, I found out that one of the best freshwater fisheries in the United States is in the Delaware River, right?
Yeah, I mean the shad that come up, and in fact I was on the river this past weekend. The shad are still coming up the river to spawn.
Jeff, I want to thank you and your team for the great job that you do, and thank you for hosting us here. It's been really great. I've been out to Peak a number of different times. I would encourage everyone, if you have time within your schedule or make time to come out here, learn some great things about the environment, about sustainability, all the things that Jeff talked about. So again, thank you, Jeff, to you and your team. And I'm Chris Barrett. You're watching PTN, the Pocono Television Network. Thanks for being with us.
All of these videos about the waterfalls and Peak are streaming live on Pocono Television Network and on our YouTube channel. That's at Pocono Tourism. Learn all about the great sites and educational opportunities at PoconoMountains.com. We hope you enjoyed Pocono Mountains Podcast. Please remember to subscribe anywhere podcasts are available. Come visit us in the Pocono Mountains. Plan your trip today.